Hey guys, Matt here. As a follow-up to my Ultima Online video I did the other day, I now bring you Asheron's Call. This was the second MMO I ever played, and much like Ultima Online, is a skills-based. It's not quite the same as Ultima Online. In fact, I've got my skill panel up here. You can see there's quite a few skills. I've chosen to make a mage, so I've got sort of magic skills. You can see I've got specialized skills, trained skills, and then untrained skills and unusable skills. So it's a bit like Elder Scrolls games prior to Skyrim, where you picked a certain amount and they would level up easier than the others. But I guess it's probably closer to sort of the Dungeons and Dragons thing with class skills, except there are no classes in this. You just pick what skills you want as you start. Now, as you see, I'm currently level 5. I've been through the tutorial, and that gets you to this point. And leveling up is complicated. It's more complicated than I remember it, but I didn't really get very far. You see, I've got all of these skills here, and if I click on one down here, you can see I've got unassigned experience. Now, you don't get well, I'm not entirely sure how this works actually. You don't get experience as you level up, as in up here, XP for next level. That doesn't change as you kill stuff or do quests, as far as I can tell. But as you level up, you get your experience points to spend as skill tokens, I guess you could say. And as you level up, as you increase, it costs more and more to increase each level. Like down here you can see experience points to raise to a level 56. If I increase that by 1, that goes to 71. And I have 9,992 that I could put into war magic. The other odd thing is that it's not limited to 100 as you would expect it to be. I think the max level in this game is something like 276, something really, really obscure like that. But the other thing, and this gets even more complicated, is that as well as skills, you have attributes, and you have primary attributes and secondary attributes. Your primary attributes are what you'd expect from most RPGs: strength, endurance, coordination, quickness, focus, and self. And then you have health, stamina, and mana as secondary attributes. But skills, I beg your pardon, one of the aliens talking to me there. Your skills are calculated by a formula. The leveling up I do here is directly to the skill, so that will add a base amount. But I've also got, for example, war magic. It doesn't tell you what the formulas are in here, but it's something like your focus skill plus your self skill divided by 6. So you've got choices to make as you level up. It's pretty complicated, which I can imagine why it's not used more often. But if you level up your primary attributes, you increase that attribute, you increase your secondary attribute, and you increase any skills that go along with it, but you don't increase them by as much. So let's say war magic cost me 71 to raise it from 71 to 72. If I go to my attributes and increase my focus, it costs me 167 because it's higher. Let's do that and see what it does. Oh, it's still only 71. I'll keep increasing that until I get to 72. There we go, 72. So you can see that, but it's also increased my mana conversion and my arcane lore and all my other magic skills that use those. Ones I'm trained in anyway. So you've got that decision to make. And similarly with health, you could increase health directly. I could put a point into that. 110 gets me 1 point. But then endurance, 110 gets me 1 point in that, gets me a single point in health, but will also get me points in, I'm not sure actually, healing, armor thingies, perhaps. I don't know what the formulas are, they're plastered all over the internet. But yeah, it's complicated. I'm not sure. I probably think I probably spent more time leveling up than I did playing when I first played this. Tucked away somewhere nice and safe. As for the game itself, you can see that it looks like garbage. You can see huge texture blocks just plastered over the landscape. It's got really good draw distance, but my character, see if I can swizzle him around. Nope. But you can see this is very much. This came out in 1999, so this is the same sort of time that Half-Life and GoldenEye I think came out, and it's very much that same blocky, horrible looking thing. The textures are alright. I mean, the trees look okay for a game of that time, but it's very much an old game. Looks like crap, to be honest. Okay, let's go see if we can find something to kill, and you can see a bit of the combat. My character, by the way, and I might do a character creation video, though it's not that complicated, is an Empyrean, who are the magic users. I guess you'd call them like the blood elves of this world, I guess. But they float for some reason, except when you're in combat mode. Again, this is like Ultima Online. There's a peace mode and there's a combat mode. When you're in combat mode, you can float forward, but he seems to struggle to float sideways as he does the jig side to side and walks very slowly backwards. But when you're in peace, he's on an elevator or an escalator of some description. Anyway, minor gripe, but it was just odd. Okay, water. There are always bad guys by waters. Bodies of water, at least. Is that a bad guy? Nope, that is a rock. Is that a bad guy? Is also a rock. Oh, that looks like a bad guy. There we go. That is a Drudge Slinker. Okay, so we'll go to war mode. You can see down here I've got all my skills, my magic skills anyway, for level 1. That's the only way I've got to attack at the minute. And we'll just go with the flame bolt. And I press my cast button, which I've got bound to C, and I fire a fireball. And ooh, I don't know what happened then. Just passed out from the heat without actually hitting him. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. It was a reasonable fireball. Okay, what's that? A blue Fintos wing. Oh, this is my favourite one. You can pretend you're stunning Princess Leia. Oh god, this is considerably stronger than I thought it would be. You see, there's also one of the things in this game is that elemental affinities play quite a big role, and not just in magic. For example, something like a skeleton takes almost no damage from arrows because it's piercing damage, but they take extra damage from bludgeoning damage. Peppermint stick. I don't know what that does. This item is used in cooking. Ooh. Wish I was dressed like a nun. Brilliant. Yeah, I picked up some stuff there. I'll probably try and show you something in a minute using the combat. That this isn't like World of Warcraft, where if you had something, a quest to turn in, they would just give it to you. Ooh. Okay. If you want to hand a quest item to an NPC, you have to drag and drop it onto them. Yeah. Obviously before they figured out how to do that sort of thing. Let's see if I can give this red-headed man, woman, thing something. I'll give her a peppermint stick. Town Crier is too busy to accept gifts right now. Okay, but you see the idea. You have to actually hand stuff to people. Right. I'm not going to lie to you, this is, I think, a pretty good game, but it has its problems. Obviously, looking like garbage is one of them. The control system's a bit clunky, but that may just be because I've taken the hovering none. To get it to work straight off, I actually had to bypass my router. I had to unplug my network cable from my router and just plug it straight into the wall, because there is something funny, and apparently I'm not the only one who's had the problem. There is something funny going on with how it connects to the internet. You can get it to work, you just have to, if you want to play it on wireless, that's not going to work. So I don't know if I'll play this. This is the free trial at the minute, which a lot of these older games seem to have. It's weird, I was looking at this on the internet, and Asheron's Call has a sequel, Asheron's Call 2, not surprisingly, which is no longer played, but Asheron's Call is. Neocron, which is hopefully a game I'm going to do another one of these of, is still played, but its sequel, Neocron 2, isn't. Ultima Online is still played. Anarchy Online is still played. That's another one I'm gonna have a look at. All these really old games. I mean, this came out in 1999. That's 30... Maths. 13 years now. Twice as long as World of Warcraft, and it's still being played. I think these games would benefit a lot from trying to set up some sort of free-to-play model, or freemium model, because they're still charging the same monthly rates that they did when they first started, apart from Ultima Online, which has got its own free servers. But you're still going to be paying £10 a month to play these really old games. And they're really good. There's a lot of content in these things. And you're probably going to have as much fun leveling up a character in this as you would in any other modern MMO. The mechanics are the same. Well, the mechanics are completely different, but the same sort of leveling up and getting better gear and dungeon raiding is still here. But it's done in a completely different way. It's not like... It's more fundamental. You have much more control over what your character does, so you can customize it a lot more. It's quite hard to play and talk at the same time. But at the same time, there's a lot that's missing. It's not as easy to get into. You have to spend a long time figuring out what your skills are going to be, and there are probably calculators you can use and all sorts. What was that? Whirling Blade. You feel like throwing shurikens around? Magic ones at that. This is another thing that I've noticed, that if you come down here in the chat, there aren't very many pop-up windows. Everything that happens in the chat. But just like Ultima Online, you have these magic words that you shout out. I don't know if that's like a follow-over from when things were transitioning from paper D&D, maybe? I'm not sure. But, yeah, that's not something you see in modern MMOs. Them crying out powers, words. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of like, not a Hearthstone, like a graveyard would be in WoW. You bind to it with your magic ritual. Those amazing sprite effects. And that's where you'll resurrect when you die. So, what else to show you? I'm not sure, there's a lot else. Let's see. Groups. Again, like, there are multiple species. When I first started there were only 3 and they were all human. But they appear to have added quite a few more. There's some sort of metal armoured person, and the original bad guys that were present when I started playing, the Old Choi or the Choloi or something like that, they're now a playable race. But there are no factions. These allegiances, you build up a ranked system of a guild, effectively, and I think it's similar to, I I can't remember what game it is, but it's a game where you have underlings, and every bit of experience they get, you get a bit as well. So it kind of works a bit like that. Magic menu. Oh, that's the other thing. Again, like Ultima Online, and remember this only came out a few years. This was, I think, I read it's considered the third MMO. There was Ultima Online, then there was EverQuest, and then there was this, and this and EverQuest came out about a month apart. So they're all developed fairly in tandem, so they're all fairly similar. But yeah, like Ultima Online, you have these components. Unlike Ultima Online, they're only consumed, I think, if you fail to cast a spell, or if it gets resisted, or something like that. So you don't need them as much as you do in Ultima Online, but the idea is still there. I can see why that got dropped from modern MMOs. I don't see what it adds to the gameplay. The only thing I could think is if you could get rare... Actually, I think that might be true. You get scarabs and tapers, and you can get rare versions of these, which increase the power of your spells. So I guess maybe that does increase its value in the game. Kind of like having slotted weapons. Black Rabbit. Ooh, is that a bad guy? Let's find out. Lightning Bolt. See what that looks like. Nope, that's auto run. Cast. That's a pretty good lightning bolt. Well, there's something you see on the Old Republic. Unlimited fire. What was I going to say? Skills. What's that? Contracts. I think this is like quests. You can pick up bounty contracts and things like that. Map. It's a pretty big world, and this is just one of them. I think they've added extra islands on. I don't know if these are those, but it is a very large world. I think I walked across it. It took me about an hour of just walking to get from where I am now, Hotsburg, did I start here? To sort of this desert area. Oh yes, another thing. Again, like Ultima Online, you have player-made houses. I don't currently own one. But you also get guild houses. And when I first started, I joined a guild, and you can automatically teleport to the guild headquarters. And I just found myself in the middle of the mountains. I mean, this is quite a high. That's quite a high hill. But I found myself just 1,000 feet up, looking down over this ridiculously broad landscape that looked amazing for the time. Now you would scoff at this sort of thing, but it just looked... It was just amazing. You wouldn't see anything like that in World of Warcraft, to just be teleported to a player-made house in the middle of the mountains, what would effectively be thousands of feet up. It was brilliant for the time, obviously. Now you'd probably look at it and think, oh, what are all those triangles? They're really ugly. Yeah, again, this was another game that I didn't get particularly far in because of internet connection issues when we moved house and things like that. But I may do more of this. Again, as with Ultima Online. What's that? A chicken. Can we kill the chicken? Yes! And I leveled up from killing a chicken. Oh well. Okay, I'm going to call that a day. I may do more of this. I can get one of my friends to play for the 2-week trial. We might do some questing, maybe try and raid a few dungeons, but that's it from me. I will see you later.